On a warm Saturday afternoon, laughter and chatter filled Maplewood Park. Families gathered under shady oaks, children raced to the swings, and mothers exchanged knowing smiles as they watched over their little ones. Among them sat a quiet woman, alone on a bench, her eyes fixed on her daughter, a little girl with pigtails trying to master the monkey bars. She looked shy, almost timid, her shoulders slightly hunched, as if she wanted to blend into the background. To anyone passing by, she was just another single mom spending the day with her child. But appearances can be deceiving, and the strangers about to target her had no idea who they were messing with. It began with whispers. 3 women, local regulars at the park, stood by the water fountain with their arms folded and their lips curled in amusement. They noticed the woman on the bench, quiet, reserved, dressed in jeans and a simple t-shirt. Unlike them, she wasn't in designer workout gear or flaunting perfect smiles. To them she was an easy target, someone who didn't belong in their circle. "She's here every weekend," one of them said with a smirk. "Always alone. Poor thing, probably some desperate single mom. Look at her," another added cruelly. "Not even trying. She's so plain. Bet she lives off government checks." They laughed, not realizing that every word, every snide comment, carried across the park. The woman heard them, but she didn't flinch. She had heard worse in her life. She had been trained to listen, to assess, to never react too soon. Still, her heart ached, not for herself but for her daughter, who deserved a mother free of judgment and cruelty. As the women strutted closer, their voices grew louder. One of them approached and said, "Hey, don't you ever get tired of sitting alone? Poor kid doesn't even have a father figure. Must be tough." The words stung, but the woman lifted her gaze calmly. Her daughter ran up, beaming with pride. "Mommy, did you see? I climbed all the way across." The mother hugged her tightly, forcing a smile despite the cruelty hovering nearby. "I saw, sweetheart. You were amazing." But the bullies weren't done. They leaned in, eyes sharp, waiting for a reaction. "You know," one said, "maybe if you tried harder, you wouldn't have to raise her all alone. Men don't exactly stick around when you've got nothing to offer." Something shifted in the mother's eyes, though her face remained composed. She wanted to protect her daughter from this ugliness, but there was a line that even her patience couldn't allow them to cross. She stood up, straightening her posture. Her quiet demeanor melted away, replaced by a presence that instantly commanded attention. The bullies exchanged glances, suddenly unsure. "You think you know me?" she said evenly, her voice calm but unshakable. "But you don't. And you shouldn't judge what you don't understand." The women scoffed, one muttering, "Oh, please, what are you going to do? Call the cops?" Her lips curved into the faintest smile. "No need," she replied. "I am the cops." Their laughter faltered. She reached into her bag, pulled out a slim leather wallet, and opened it just enough for them to see the badge inside. FBI. The color drained from their faces. Their mockery dissolved into silence, replaced by shock and discomfort. The park suddenly seemed smaller, the air heavier. People nearby, curious about the tension, began to notice. "You spend your time tearing people down," she continued, her voice low but firm. "But you don't know what battles they're fighting. You don't know the sacrifices they've made, or the strength it takes just to keep moving forward. I've faced criminals, liars, and men who think they can intimidate others into silence. Do you think your words can break me?" Her daughter clung to her hand, eyes wide but proud. For the first time, the child saw her mother not just as a caretaker, but as someone unshakably strong. The bullies fumbled for words. One stammered, We didn't mean." "You did mean it," the agent said, cutting her off. "And that's the problem. Women like you think cruelty makes you powerful. It doesn't. It makes you small. My daughter deserves to grow up in a world where women build each other up instead of tearing each other down." The silence that followed was deafening. People nearby nodded in quiet agreement. One father muttered under his breath, "Good for her." A mother sitting with her stroller smiled. The bullies, now red-faced, muttered excuses and quickly walked away, their pride shattered. The woman knelt beside her daughter. "Listen to me," she whispered gently. "People will say mean things. They'll try to make you feel less than who you are. But you can't let their words define you. Do you understand?" The little girl nodded slowly, her small hand gripping her mother's. "You weren't scared at all," she said softly. Her mother smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's face. "I was scared," she admitted. "But bravery isn't about not being scared. It's about standing tall even when you are." As the sun dipped lower in the sky, they walked home together hand in hand. The woman's steps were steady, her heart lighter. She had faced down criminals in dark alleys, interrogated men who thought they could lie their way out of justice. But this moment in the park meant something different. It wasn't about proving her strength to the bullies. It was about showing her daughter that no one has the right to decide her worth. And that day, Maplewood Park carried a new kind of story. Not about whispers or cruelty, but about a quiet mother who revealed the strength behind her silence. A story that reminded everyone watching that kindness is power, and that sometimes the strongest warriors are the ones who walk among us, disguised as ordinary people. The sun was warm, the air sweet with the smell of grass and blooming flowers, and children's laughter echoed across Maplewood Park. Families gathered on picnic blankets, parents pushed strollers, and kids raced across the playground. On an old wooden bench sat a woman who most people overlooked. She was quiet, her head slightly lowered, her hair tied back simply, and her hands resting gently on her lap. Next to her, a little girl about 7 years old giggled as she tried to conquer the monkey bars, her pigtails bouncing with every swing. "Mommy, watch me," she cried, her voice full of pride. Her mother smiled warmly. "I'm watching, sweetheart. You're doing great." To strangers, she was just another single mom at the park. Timid, ordinary, forgettable. She never tried to stand out. She wore jeans and a plain t-shirt, no makeup, no flashy jewelry. But while most people passed her without a second thought, 3 women at the other end of the park noticed her, and not in a kind way. These women, known to the regulars as the self-proclaimed park queens, were always together. They wore expensive workout clothes, carried designer water bottles, and looked down their noses at anyone they deemed unworthy of their company. And today their eyes landed on the quiet woman on the bench. "Look at her," one of them whispered with a laugh. "Every weekend, same spot, same outfit. Doesn't even try. Poor thing must be desperate." Another smirked. "Single mom, clearly. Bet she scared her husband off. Honestly, who would stick around for that?" The third chuckled, sipping from her stainless steel bottle. "Maybe we should invite her to our little group. You know, out of pity,